All right, we are live tonight, and welcome in the Blind with Daddy Duck, a corn pond debate. That's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the corn ponds. We're going to be talking about the standing corn, um, flooded corn ponds. We're going to be talking about what the letter said that Senator Kennedy wrote. We're just going to reiterate it. So those of y'all who've watched the video that I put out last week or last Friday, you will note that all I was doing was pushing the information forward and letting you know what Senator Kennedy wrote the U.S. Fishing Game. And it was very, very simple. And it basically said that we want you to the U.S. Fishing Game, we want you to take a look at the issue of standing flood corn impoundments or corn ponds and see if there actually is a scientific based fact that these areas are halting, hampering, or disrupting the waterfowl migration. That's what the letters, that's all they want. That's all they wanted. That's all they wanted to do. There was nothing more, nothing less. So, and of course, this is a huge, huge hot topic now throughout social media. Um, on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook. It's huge. It's absolutely one of the biggest in the waterfowling world topics that I have seen here lately. I mean, it is absolutely huge. And um, guys, I just want there's I got three of you in here right now. I don't know how many I'm going to have tonight, but for those of y'all that are coming in or watch this late or coming in, and if I don't get with you, if I don't say hello, please don't take offense. I got a lot of stuff that I want to show and I'll not show, but I want to talk about, and I just may miss a lot of comments. So if there's something really, really important, and I don't catch it right off, please do me a favor and just keep repeating it. Um, uh, Living MN outdoors, and we're going to get to that question here in a minute, buddy. And it's a good topic because we're going to get into that question. Period. Now, I will say you can agree with me, you can disagree with me. It's not going to hurt my feelings whatsoever. The only thing I ask in the comment section is be respectful. I'm going to be respectful. If you're jumping up and down, screaming, hollering, using foul language, not only will I kick the comment out, I'll block you. And that's all I'm asking is a fair and respectable conversation about this topic standing flooded corn, impoundments or ponds, however you want to say it. All right, so let's go ahead and how you doing? If you do me a favor, if you see any foul language, any of that kind of thing, and somebody being disrespectful as a monitor, I would ask that you take care of it. Okay, can you do that for me? I sure would appreciate it. Um, let's get into it. These nuts, just hang tight, buddy, because I'm probably going to answer your questions um, here in a little bit. So just stay tuned, get ready. All right, so the U.S. government back in 1930ish, the 1930s. And guys, I do have paper and I have notes. I got notes everywhere to help me kind of keep track and remember certain statistics. So yes, I'm going to be using that stuff because I can't remember everything. But in the 1930s, the federal government, the U.S. government came out with a set of laws in the Migratory Bird Treaty in 1930. I don't think anybody that's going to be joining us tonight is old enough to remember that. I'm certainly not. 30 years before my time. At that point, they cut out all baiting. They mandatory 3 shells and a gun. There was some other things that set up seasons and limits and a whole bunch of stuff that was in there in the 1930s. And that was right after the Dust Bowl days, when all the prairie potholes dried up and we had hardly any ducks. And they did this on the advice of scientists and biologists, mostly from Ducks Unlimited, and they came up with these set of laws. And around in the 1950s is when they started counting ducks. And I've got these figures, and they're increments of 10 years, so just bear with me. In the 1950s, it was estimated to be between 30 and 35 million ducks in the country. In 1970, it was between 44 and 61 million. In 2009, 42 million ducks were in the country. In the 2010s, okay, anywhere from 30 to 40 million. 2023, it was 32.3 million. In 2024, it was 34 million. And in this year, 2025, they're estimated at 35 million ducks. So you can see the numbers are going down. Now, there are a lot of issues other than just standing corn ponds in this equation. Okay, a lot of different things. There is weather has an impact. Not enough rain at the time that needs to fill up the prairie potholes. Not enough snow and ice to maintain those levels. There's where your weather is kicking in. Droughts kick in, and the prairie pothole regions and the nesting areas dry up. Now, let me hang tight a minute, because most ducks, except for a few like wood ducks and several others, whistling ducks. I think a goldeneye does it. I'm not sure. Never shot a goldeneye. Never seen one in real life. They nest in trees, but they can be up to a mile or 2 miles away from water. But as soon as those babies are born, they will drop out of the holes in the trees. They will drop down and they go straight to water. So they need water. So weather does play a part in this equation as it right now. Just hang tight and I'll give you some other stuff. So weather plays a part. Urbanization in nesting areas, urbanization in wintering areas plays a part. Liberal seasons play a part. Let's see here. I got all kinds of stuff here. I'm trying to remember. But urbanization, predator control for you and my trappers out there. Let's face some facts. A raccoon pelt ain't worth nothing. Fox pelts aren't. I mean, when you really look at it, they're not worth hardly anything. And a lot of trappers are leaving the business, or they're doing it for recreational use only, just because they enjoy trapping, but they're not making any money. So predator control has a huge impact. Actually, one of my subscribers wrote this down in my notes, but I have told y'all in the past, you take 100 ducks and you take 100 ducklings, and 80% of them are going to be eaten by predators right off the bat. That leaves 20%. 10% will survive their first year. The other 10% are more likely going to be shot on their way south, during the migration. So you're looking at a 10% that's going back north to nest and breed. So predator control plays a huge factor in this thing. A huge factor. I'm not ever going to deny that. Urbanization does the same thing. Wintering areas being demolished. That kind of thing. Nesting, some of the nesting areas, depending on what side of Canada or where in the prairie pothole it's being demolished. Modern day agricultural practices where they are tilling up everything from pothole to pothole, and there's no nesting cover. Remember, ducks normally nest in grass. They nest in the grasslands, and then they walk the ducklings to a water source. So a lot of things play a part. Now, once there's a reason for low duck numbers. Now, let's talk about migration numbers and what's going on with that. And I can sit here and I can honestly say, and I had a long conversation the other day with another subscriber, a really good friend of mine. We were on the phone for well over an hour talking about this, and that's corn ponds and the effect that corn ponds have on migration. And to give you some kind of an example locally here in my home state of South Carolina, before the corn ponds really started in the 80s, ducks would leave the Santee National Wildlife Refuge. Now, if any of y'all got the time right now to grab a phone or grab something, y'all can look up, Google Map it. Google Map where the Santee National Wildlife Refuge is. If you look to the side of it, you'll see the I-95 corridor. Those ducks would literally get up and fly north on that corridor, and they would go into a place called Sammy Swamp, and then they would go to a place called Pacala Swamp, which is between Sumter and Manning. That was half of the ducks. The other half would fly up the lake into Sparkleberry Swamp, up to the Wateree River, into generally an area on the Wateree River where the Wateree prison system is. It's a farm system. Give me a second. Bougie's about to drive me crazy. Come on. I'm so sorry about that. I mean, those of y'all that come in here a lot, y'all know Bougie is aggravating. So they would fly up, okay? Now, I don't remember exactly the year that this happened, to be quite honest with you, but there is a piece of property between where the Wateree and the Congaree meet, and that forms the Santee. And in that area, there is a piece of property that was bought, and the person who bought it made himself and his family a very large tract, waterfowl management area. I've never been on the property. I have no idea what's on it. I can only assume, and assumptions are, what they are. They're the mother of all. But that actually stopped the ducks from going any further up the Wateree River. They stopped right there. And then in the 80s, thank you, Ryan. So in the 80s, yeah, I know where it's at, Colt. I know exactly where it's at, and I actually know who owns it. I'm just not naming names, okay? We're going to be very respectful in here. We're not going to name names or anything like that, because I do want to be respectful to people. Everybody has their own opinion, and everybody has their own thing about this. So anyway, so what happened was in the 80s, some very industrious people got together and started making impoundments, and they were planting corn because the laws had changed a little bit, where you could plant, and it was legal to plant corn. And I will tell you, in the beginning, I was like, yeah, that's going to bring more ducks to our area. What I did not know, and what I found out many years later, that it was hampering the migration, local migration, mind you, from the refuge spreading out into the swamps and different places to being localized exclusively on those ponds. And if you were lucky enough to grab a spot that was close and not have someone sitting 25 yards from you, you could probably shoot work ducks and shoot them. Well, over the course of the years, more and more of these impoundments came up. Excuse me. If you haven't already noticed, I'm pretty laid back when it comes to in the blind stuff, but tonight is a little bit different. But anyway, more and more impoundments. And we're not even going to get into the release bird situation because that's a totally different topic that I could go on for more hours than I've got. But the majority of these impounds are now corn impoundments. Now, if you don't know what a corn impoundment is, I'm fixing to tell you. It is where you go to a piece of property, you either dig a pond out or you have a nice flat level area. You clean it up, you plant corn, you dike it, and when the corn reaches maturity, you then flood it on top of it. You flood it. And depending on where your ears are on the corn stalk, what kind of corn you're using, that's how deep your water is going to be. Nah, you didn't, RD. So these ducks can swim right up to the corn stalk, rip off corn. I have seen pictures and videos of wood ducks literally landing on top of the corn and picking the corn off and eating the corn right off the stalk while they're sitting on top of the corn stalk. I've seen it. I've seen the pictures. I've seen the pictures and the videos. So there's your problem. They're in a localized area, and any of the guys that are local to me will tell you the same thing. The ducks will stay on those properties. Ducks need, how many times have I said this, guys? Ducks need three things. They need food, water, and rest. And as long as they got food, as long as they got open water, and as long as they got rest, which means they're not being shot at every day, then they're not going anywhere. They are not going anywhere. Now, you say, well, what about weather? Weather does play a part. I will never deny that. But it doesn't play the part, in my opinion, in my beliefs, it does not play the part that it once did. And let me explain that. When you have, in the state of Missouri, I think it's close to 20,000 acres. I could be wrong on the acreage. And if I am, somebody please correct me, because I have no problem being corrected on certain stats. Is even if those corn ponds, corn impoundments freeze solid, the ducks can land on the ice. And how many pictures and how many videos have you seen where ducks are skidding across the ice and picking corn off the cob? All they have to do is now find open water. Now, they can keep it open themselves, or these landowners can use ice eaters or heated ponds, or the ducks can get up and just fly south below the ice line, where they'll get hammered and they'll go, you know what, we had a better chance up there. So they'll go back up and feed on the corn. What is 100 miles to get below an ice line? What is 100 miles for a duck? That ain't nothing, dude. That's a couple of hours, and they can fly that far. Trust me. All right, trust me. They can go that is nothing. They get the right wind and they can be there in hours. So they can get up from open water, an open water reserve, reservoir rather, and fly back, eat, and then fly back to get water, roost, and just keep doing that back and forth throughout the day. And they can stay on that corn. Therefore, if they're doing that, they're hampering the natural historical migration of waterfowl. And that's what we're talking about. That is the big thing that this letter was trying to get the question asked scientifically through biologists, not just old duck hunters that have seen things, but to ask the question, is it actually hampering the migration? We saw it on a localized area here in South Carolina. North Carolina has seen it. Maryland used to plant corn, and at one time was the goose capital of the Atlantic Flyway. And they would plant corn all over the place. The geese would come there, and it would hamper the geese from coming to South Carolina. The Santee National Wildlife Refuge was the last wintering stop for the Atlantic Canada goose and the Atlantic mallard. And at one time in my lifetime, I can remember hearing numbers of up to 50,000 mallards on the refuge. That doesn't include all the other ducks. That is just the refuge. That doesn't include everything else, the wood ducks and the gadwall and the pintails and the widgeon and all the other stuff. It doesn't count. We're not even counting that. We're just saying mallards. So Maryland started doing it, and it started short stopping our birds. Then New Jersey started doing it and was short stopping Maryland. So there's been a whole big, there has been, a whole big thing all across the nation, not just the Mississippi Flyway. This is nationwide. This is not just the Mississippi Flyway thing. It's the Atlantic and the Mississippi and the Central. And if it hasn't already started, it's probably going to be in the Pacific very, very quickly. Now, I will say that corn is king. Somebody put it up in the comments. Corn is king. You're right. Corn is king. It's a readily accessible food source that can be easily grown and can be easily eaten by the ducks. But it has no nutritional value for them. None. All right. It gives them some carbs. It heats them up. It keeps them warm. But there's nothing nutritional about it. Let me explain. When ducks fly south for the winter, they are really looking for your natural millets, your sprangle tops. They're looking for any type of vegetation, whether it be duckweed or duck potato or hydrilla if they can get to it. But they're also looking for invertebrates. They're looking for, hellgrammites, freshwater shrimp, little bugs. They need fish in little small minnows. They need this stuff, especially the hens, in order when they fly north to nest, that they have a healthy brood. It has already been scientifically proven that them eating natural foods, you have a better brood production. That's a fact, Jack. No ifs and buts about it. Corn does not do it. It's just ready accessible. Some people have, and I've heard others, and I've said it myself, they call it duck welfare. That's what it is. They get so ingrained in them to go to these corn ponds, that's the only place they're going to go. They're not going to go out and search. So here's, I'm going to touch on that. What is that? MSB. We need DU and Delta sponsor. I don't know. Yeah, tournaments and all that stuff is great. Delta does wonders already with predator control. Of course, DU is more into habitat restoration, where Delta is more into research and predator control. Okay, so We just flat out need more trappers. We need the fur market to go up. That's what we need. I tell you what, the fur market goes up, and there won't be a raccoon 20 square miles from here, which wouldn't hurt my feelings none. They keep getting them in trash. But so when these corn, like I said earlier, when these corn ponds start to freeze up, all they gotta do is fly south for just a little while. Trust me, they're gonna come back and forth. They're gonna go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We have seen that. I think somebody, Hunter Coker, he said that he was hunting beside a corn impoundment Saturday and watched mallards bounce around like pinball machines. Got shot at on one side of the pond and flew to the other side to get shot at again, just back and forth. They don't want to leave. They do not want to leave. Okay. Jeff, I never said it wasn't. If you give me a second, I never said it wasn't. So what does, and I was getting there, and we'll go ahead and get there. What does flooded corn, besides a hot grain, a hot crop, what else does it have? Does it have invertebrates? Yes. It's decaying matter, invertebrates will come up. Yes. But they're going to stay on that corn. They're going to want that corn more than they're going to want anything else. A moist soil area is going to give them more of what they actually need. Plus, generally speaking, moist soil is anywhere from 6 to 8 inches of water. That is the perfect dabbling depth for a dabbling duck. Mallards, widgeon, pintail, black ducks, wood ducks, what have you. That's perfect. It's a perfect dabbling, and they can get in there and root around. That's why they have these little teeth in their bills to help them filter out all the good, get all the good stuff, and then move and then get rid of all the bad stuff. Okay, that's why they have those teeth. Now I forget the scientific name for them. Everybody knows, post it so I can remember. But so they are they're better for them. Now, when that particular moist soil area, let's say it's up north, it gets cold, it freezes, guess what? It's too shallow of a water. The ducks are going to get up. They can't feed there no more because everything's under the water, under the ice. They're going to push down south. They're going to keep pushing until they find a suitable place. And that is the main reason moist soil will migrate birds in colder weather, and in warmer weather, or excuse me, in colder weather, the birds can bounce back and forth because they have a ready food source. They can get to it. They can get to it. It doesn't matter. It can be iced up. It doesn't matter. They can get to it. All they got to do is go find open water. And if they need to fly 50 to 100 miles, that's simple. That's just that simple. Now, I gave you some of the personal history of Santee. I've told you a little bit about standing crops versus harvested crop, what cold sets in, food, water, rest. Let's see here. Here's just a little tidbit here. Scientifically, I do not know, Scott. I am not a biologist. I'm not a biologist. Never claimed to be one. I'm just a guy that has 50 years of duck hunting that loves to read about this stuff. I don't know if corn actually kills a fertility rate. I can just tell you that the natural foods and the carbs in the seeds and what they're getting with invertebrates and freshwater shrimp and hellgrammite, stuff like that, along with small minnows, gives them protein. Protein helps build stronger eggs. I hope that answers your question. That's a fact. It's very, very simple. If there were no man-made ponds, man-made corn ponds, if they didn't exist, ducks would have to get up and migrate, period. It's just that simple. It is absolutely that simple. I've had some crazy comments on this particular video that I've done, and one of the biggest ones was ducks versus deer. Well, we can bait deer. Why can't we bait ducks? Number one, it's against the law to bait ducks. And in some states, it's against the law to bait deer. But that's neither here nor there. Ducks are federally regulated. Not yet. Not yet, Daniel. Ducks are federally regulated. Deer are not. Deer are state regulated. So if you can't bait deer in your state, or you can, that is because it's a state law, not a federal law. There are federal laws on migratory game birds, ducks. Today we're talking about waterfowl, but ducks, geese, swans, snipe, woodcock, doves, that kind of thing. And I got you, Hunter. I'm getting there. I'm getting to opinions in a minute. But I had some of these comments. Well, why can you do this and you can't do that? They'll take away our baiting for deer. No, that's a state regulation, not a federal regulation. And again, this whole letter was not to ban it. It was to do a study on it. That's all he asked them to do, was do a study. Study this and find out if this is an issue. And whatever the outcome is, we may not like it. A lot of us may not like it. Some of you will, some of you won't. But whatever the outcome is, whether you can still plant corn and flood it, I hope they do some different. I hope they add some different things, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. One of the other comments was government overreach, and this is going to your question earlier, Daniel. I don't want the government telling me what to do on private property. Well, I hate to tell you this. If it wasn't for the federal government, you probably wouldn't have a duck season right now. That started in the 1930s. And I hate to tell you this, but the federal government's been telling you what you can and what you can't do on your property almost since conception. And let me give you some examples. You can't put a bait pile out for waterfowl. It is against the law to pour corn out of a bucket or a bag, whether you're on public land or private land. There's a law against it. You can't do it, period. Try it. Get caught. See what happens. You can't make a moonshine still on your property. It's against the law. Do it. Get caught. See what happens. You can't plant a marijuana field. Well, some states you can, but you plant a marijuana field and see what happens. Okay, so now I'll be the first one, the very first person. I'll be the very, very first person to say I hate federal regulations. I hate oversight from the government in day-to-day living. But when it comes to waterfowl, I think that they're doing or have done the right thing in the past, and I hope that they continue to do the right thing in the future. So I have no problem with a little bit of oversight, a little bit of reach, but be reasonable about it, be realistic about it. But I think it can work. If you think you're a hunter by dumping 50 pounds of corn in a pile, then shoot a deer, you're delusional. That would depend on, that would actually depend on where you're from, brother. I got no problem with it. I don't know where you're from. I have no clue to where you're from. I know here in South Carolina, we have an overpopulation of deer, and the easiest way we can kill them, does and bucks. I'm all for it. We have way too many deer. We have no natural predators again. Well, we have a few. We got some coyotes and stuff, and we had some wolves that were released, but there's not enough to really keep the deer in check. You drive through the South Carolina back roads, and I guarantee you can't go 6 miles without finding one dead on the side of the road. Um, not when it comes to waterfowl, Daniel. Not when it comes to waterfowl. Again, this is waterfowl since the 1930s. They have been. It's a federally waterfowl hunting is federally regulated. There, hence the federal duck stamp, the Pittman Robinson Act, all of this federal regulations, the migratory bird treaties that have been signed throughout the years in the 30s and the 50s and the 80s and 90s. All of these is federal. And if it wasn't for the federal government with these rules and regs, I'm telling you, you would not. I mean, when you're down 30 something million in 1930 or below that, then you have no, if we go by the statistics right now with what we got, we should have a 30-day and 3 duck limit. If we go by the statistics of how many ducks were counted, that's a fact. We should be at a 30-day, 3 duck limit right now. Rich man floods the corn, poor man corns the flood. Yep. I do too. I am just giving numbers out, Charles. Rich man floods the corn, a poor man corns the flood. You never heard that saying? It means a rich man can build the corn ponds and a poor man pours it out of a bucket. I'd still have trouble shooting a limit, man. Yeah, I probably would. I'm getting to there too, Colt. So I read something the other day, and again, I'm not going to mention names, but it comes from in my opinion, a very highly respected individual in the waterfowling community. And he wrote something that struck me funny. I did not like at all what he was saying. And if I can find it, I'm going to read it. I'm not going to give you the name. You may have read it online. It's on Facebook. And I'm going to be reading and kind of paraphrasing some stuff, so bear with me. There seems to be a lot of noise going on about that right now in reference to the standing corn ponds, standing cornfields, whatever you want to call them. From my perspective, a loss of habitat of any kind is bad for waterfowl. I agree with that. I am one of the few that doesn't have a problem with cornfields that hails from Louisiana, which means he is from Louisiana. I do have a problem with government overreach on private land, though. If we ban corn, does rice go too? What about Jap millet? What about fertilized moist soil? What about improved bottomland hardwood forest? Where exactly does the line get drawn? Does the act of adding water where it wouldn't otherwise constitute a form of baiting? I just fear that the powers that will do all they can to remove access to ducks and duck hunting for us. There aren't many hook and bullet biologists left to fight the fight for us on the inside. I'm concerned we were potentially opening Pandora's box for the leaders of our wildlife. Now, that 99.9% I agree with. And there's more, and I'm going to get to it, but we're going to stop right here. 99.9% of that I agree with. And he talked about rice, and he talked about Jap millet, and he talked about corn and all that. And I want to get into that in here in a second, which is going to hopefully answer some of Daniel's questions earlier. But here's where it got me. This highly respected person in the waterfowl community, a biologist as well, I would love to see no row crops grown on public land. Let me read that again. I would love to see no row crops grown on public land, though I would love that NWRs and WMAs go to a fully restoring the land they acquired in the name of conservation. That there got me. That portion, that little paragraph is what got me. I've never met him in person, but I've seen videos and I've seen shorts and long content where he is hunting cornfields, flooded standing corn. To me, and my perspective, and let's face some facts, 90% of everybody's reality is their perspective, right? Is what's going on. To me, it sounds like he is saying, yes, public land hunters, you can have all the moist soil you want. We'll help you do it, but leave my corn alone so I can go up there and shoot all the ducks. Now, to me, that's what he's saying. To me, this is what this guy is saying. And I do not like that last comment. I actually posted on that particular post. I got thank you. You had a well thought out thing, and he thanked me. I was respectful, but it got me. It really got me. Here it is, a well-renowned person in our waterfowl community, and he'll let all the public landowners have public land hunters have moist soil, but we're going to keep us private boys. We're going to keep our corn so we can shoot more ducks. That in itself tells you how big the money train goes. And no ifs and buts about it. Now, I still respect this guy. I still think the world of him. And if I ever get the chance, I would like to sit down and talk with him in a respectful manner, talk with him about this, because what he said can be misconstrued and gone all over the place. I personally think there should be no standing row crops. No corn, no standing rice, no standing Japanese millet, no standing beans. If it is a crop, it should not be flooded. Now, I said that out loud. That is my opinion. You can agree with me. You can disagree with me. That's fine. It doesn't really matter. You can comment about it. Just all I ask is that you be very respectful when you do it. Now, do I have a problem with a harvested grain field, a harvested field of corn, or a harvested field of rice? Not at all. Not at all. And let me tell you my thoughts on this. I have one comment that said, well, what about all the rice fields that go in Arkansas? I've hunted Arkansas enough times that I can say I have never been on a piece of property that was a rice field, a genuine rice field that had rice, the full crop. Now, let me tell you how they do things there, so you'll kind of get an understanding if you're not from that area. They go in, I think it's around June, and they plant their rice. When it gets to a certain height, they put water on it. Rice grows in water, right? So when it gets to maturity, that rice will head out. They will drain the water off. The rice gets dried out by the sun. They go in and they harvest it. Now, back in the day, this happened a lot. Not so much now because of the modern day equipment, but there's always going to be some type of spillage when you're harvesting any kind of grain, whether it be soybeans, whether it be corn, whether it be rice, what have you, even sunflowers. There's always going to be some type of waste. It's it's going to fall down. Now, what would happen then is they would harvest their rice. They'd go off. The residual rice would then start to grow again, whatever was left. Now, they're not going to harvest that because, number one, if they call it red rice, and it costs too much to reharvest, you know. Some of you guys that live in the South and around cotton fields, you don't harvest a cotton field twice, and there's a bunch of cotton left over, right? So you're not going to reharvest it. It's going to grow back up, and they'll put water back on it. It will head up, and whatever's left is for the ducks to eat. I have no problem. That's a harvested field. That's a normal agricultural practice, and I don't have a problem with that. Another thing I don't have a problem when it comes to rice is down in Louisiana. There are tons and tons of crawfish farms. And I didn't know this until last September. Because the only reason I know this because I asked about it. I said, "Hey, there's rice. Are y'all going to harvest this rice?" They said, "No, this is for the crawfish." I said, "Huh?" He said, "Yeah. What we do is we clear a place out, make an impound, so to speak, and we plant rice." Okay, and we leave it alone, and it heads out. It falls down. If ducks eat it, ducks, so be it. But it regrows, and we just have a continuous growing cycle of rice because that's where the crawfish are. That's where they have their crawfish. They feed them the rice, and they get all the little bugs and the insects and vertebrates and all this little waste stuff, and that's what the crawfish eat. So no, they don't drain it. They just leave it up. Do I have a problem with that? No, I do not. Why? Because that is the ultimate agricultural process. How many farmers do I have in here? How many corn farmers do I have in here? I'm not a corn farmer, but I know better that you don't grow corn for harvest in water. You're farming ducks. You're not farming corn. You're farming for ducks. And that leads to another issue. Is this farming for ducks on these private lands that are clubbed or guided outfits? Is that now would not be considered modern day market hunting? That is a question for the feds to figure out, not me. I'm just posing the question. I'm asking, what do y'all think? Do y'all think that is modern day market hunting when they do that? Now, do I think we should get rid of guides? No, sir. No, not at all. I know too many of them. They're all great people that have a business, and they're providing an area and a luxury that some of us just don't have. I very seldom get to shoot pintails and mallards, and a lot of times even blue-winged teal in this state. So I go to other states, and I have my fill of blue-winged teal and mallards and pintails and more widgeon. That is, I think they provide that service. But the question still remains, and I'm telling you now, I do not believe we should get rid of guide services. But the question still remains: is that not a modern day? And I want your comments. I want you to tell me what you think it is. If you think it is, say I think it is. If you say no, then no. I have really no opinion on this at this point. I'm just asking a question, all right? Because I want to hear what y'all have to say. If a private landowner has worked hard, saved money, and purchased property to do how they see it, I believe is un-American to tell them that they can and cannot do on the property. So it's okay to grow marijuana. So it's okay to have a liquor still. I'm just asking, is it okay for those? Is it okay to do that? Is it okay to do that? Is it okay to build a compound and house maybe people in it? I'm asking, Daniel, I'm seriously asking the question. The federal government has been telling you what you can and cannot do on your property for years and years. You may think it's un-American. You know, I'm never going to tell a man what he can or cannot do on his property. I'm not the one that's telling him that. I have my opinion on what you should and shouldn't do, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you have to. I understand that marijuana is legal in some states, but what about the states that it's not? And that is a state law. Remember? That's a state law. We're talking about the feds, and we're talking about duck hunting. So let's do another federal. Is it legal federally to have to produce illegal narcotics? Well, if I own the property, that means I can do it. There you go. Private property owners don't own the resources. Okay? So, by making these corn ponds, you're hampering the historical and traditional waterfowl migration. There are, what is both legal in your state? Well, I know you're in Minnesota, so there's a lot of things that's weird up there. I was up there for 5 days, remember? I'm just saying. I'm not saying that, Stanford. I'm not saying that is market. I'm asking the question to you. What do you think it is? I haven't said yes or no or what I think. I'm asking the question. What do you think it is? Could it be perceived as modern day market hunting? I'm asking the question. I've already said personally, I do not believe that we should get rid of guiding outfits for anything. Ducks, doves, quail, deer, elk, all of it. I think they provide a very necessary service to people who cannot enjoy normally those locations. No more. So, okay, no more. All right, that's your answer. You want them to I'm against everything the federal government tells me I can and cannot do on my property. I'm not going to argue with you, Daniel. I'm not going to argue with you. If that is your opinion, you are more than welcome to be entitled to it. Good luck. Good luck. Ain't that the truth, Mark? Yeah. Do we ever really own our property? I'm paying taxes on a boat and truck. It's been paid for. Of course, that's state. Those are state taxes. But yeah, it's really, really and truly. And so there you go. Let's see here. That is, I'm open for questions, and I will answer the best I can. And what my opinion, again, my opinion is, I'm MSB. I'd be all for that. I'd be all for that. But I do want to. That made me remember something. Now, whether the standing flooded corn crop, and I am going to wreak havoc on y'all here in a second. If it is scientifically deemed that you can plant a standing row crop, such as corn, flood it, and hunt over it, then I would like to see a legalization of dumping corn. I said it, and I mean it. I don't like standing flooded corn, but if what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So if private landowners are allowed to hunt over standing corn, and it is deemed by the federal government, the U.S. Fish and Game, it is deemed not a hindrance to the migration, then I would like to be able to pour corn. Period. No ifs and buts about it. Here's something else that I want to kind of remind y'all of, and I may have said it earlier, I may not have gone into it, but it's hitting me right now. When it was illegal to pour corn, when they made that law that it was illegal to pour corn out, you have to remember the duck seasons were a lot longer, and there were a lot more ducks, and there were a lot the bag limit was a lot more, and that bag limit. So they were trying to reduce the number of ducks that were killed. So they reduced the bag limit, and they started making a season. They said three shells in the gun, and no level the playing field. And so here's the thing. We do have a season now. The U.S. Fish and Game, by the way, that's the federal government, and they say that you have 60 days. Now, some areas are 90 days. I understand. I think the West Coast, I've never hunted the West. I think it's 90 days. If I'm wrong, please correct me. That we have a season, 60 days and 6 ducks. If we have the 60 days and 6 ducks, and it is legal to pour corn out, and you are caught with over the limit, then I say that you'll be state and federally prosecuted, your hunting license taken away for life, your guns, your truck, your land, whatever you have, taken away for life. Period. Now, what I would like to see, be quite honest, right now, is a 30-day season, 3 ducks, and no corn, no flooded corn crop, none, no flooded rice crop, no flooded Jap millet, natural. I have no problem with bush hogging and tilling up the soil to grow natural foods such as smartweed and springletop and moist soil. I have no problem with that whatsoever, but go to a 30-3 duck season. I think that right there. And as a friend of mine said today, and I don't know if he's in here or not, I haven't seen his name pop up, but he actually said, if we do that, duck hunting wouldn't be cool again. If we went to a 30-3, no corn, no standing corn, no pouring out corn, no hunting over row crops, no flooded crops, whatever, duck hunting would be cool again. It would not be cool again. It would not be cool again. And you just have your duck hunters. Now, after I said all that, I know somebody in here is probably thinking about it. Well, Matt, what about the standing corn in September when a lot of states have an early goose season and they're harvesting it? Well, if the farmer is harvesting and is in the middle of harvesting, but hasn't got quite finished because of maybe the moisture in that corn on that end was a little higher than what he wanted, then I got no problem with hunting over that. It's not flooded. They're still hunting in a cut cornfield, dry cut cornfield. Well, Matt, what happens if you have a field that you planted in corn in it gets flooded by God? A natural disaster. Okay, here's the thing. And here's where it gets a little sticky. In my opinion, if that landowner can prove that he is a farmer, that he was farming to uh, produce, to grow corn, to harvest it, to sell it at market, and a natural disaster, and it flooded the field. He's lost that field. He's lost it. 100% has lost it. The insurance man is going to have to pay a hefty fine. Yeah, I can see that being hunted. I mean, that's just reasonable. I mean, that's reasonable, guys. I'm not all. I mean, just let's be reasonable about some certain things. So there's a lot of wording is going to have to, if this thing goes, is a lot of wording is going to have to be put in there to protect those guys. Now if it's seen where they went over there and took a backhoe and ripped out a dike to flood something, then they're in violation. But if it's a natural disaster and it flooded and it's got 6 to 8 inches of water on it, yeah, okay. I got no problem with it. I personally don't have a problem with it, because I know some of y'all may have been thinking about that and what my thoughts were on that. So my thoughts would be I don't have it. What I have lost a lot of. I 100% agree that you should follow all regulations. However, I don't think we should be inviting in more government regulations on anything. Again, we all have our opinions. I think that the government does need to step in on this particular topic and at least get a study done. At least get a study. And I thought I heard somebody or saw somewhere where somebody said, well, that'd be millions of dollars. Yeah, I got it, dude. I understand that. But we're talking about a natural resource that is fading. It's fading away. Personally, this year, and I may have said this to some of you guys who have never been, you guys have never been in here. And speaking of which, the guys that have never been on one of my live streams or just recently started to watch me, first of all, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I do appreciate all comments, good, bad, or ugly. I do appreciate all of them. I appreciate you joining us. I ask that there's a little thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't. I mean, I'm good with it either way. But I do appreciate y'all coming. I really, really do. It's an honor to do this, to be quite honest. And you ask the guys that have been here, some of the guys in here that have been in here before, they'll tell you the same thing. I'm honest. I'll tell you how I feel. As long as everybody's respectful, I ain't got a problem with it. Let's see here. Cuts their corn and leaves strips in it. They then drop board, rises and flood in the season during harvest. Yes, again, that's standing corn. In that instance, that was you. Okay, Cody. Curious. Stanford, he's curious. What is he curious about? Would you consider a limited amount of flooding, say an acre, on flooded row crops? No. You're farming for ducks. I wouldn't. I'm afraid nothing will change due to the money brought in by the industry. What was that, Ron? I don't even know how to pronounce the rest of that. So Ron, my honest opinion, I feel the same way. Respectfully asking, is it more about leveling the playing field on public land hunters against private landowners, or is this about standing corn and it's being ethical? It's a lot of both. Yes, the playing field. Again, Daniel, you live up in Minnesota, and I hunted there last October with Cody, and I had a great time. Cody was upset about the amount of ducks that he was seeing, and I was seeing more ducks in those 5 days than I had seen in the past 10 to 15 years in South Carolina, totaled. Okay, so I was having a good time. You're in a great location to catch those ducks coming out of Canada and those local ducks. You're in a great location. So yes, when the migration starts, it is hampered. It is stopped by all of these cornfields. And this just isn't 1 acre of standing corn. This is thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of acres of standing flooded corn, probably from where you're at all the way down, all the way down, at least all the way down, all the way down. And it hampers the migration. It stops the migration. So yes, evening the playing field for public and private duck hunters. Yes, leveling that. Um, or is it about standing corn and it's being ethical? I'm assuming you meant unethical. I think I think it's unethical. That is my belief. That is my opinion. Standing flooded corn is unethical. Um, Ducks are going to go to it first. They're going to go to it before they go to anything else, and they will stay on it until they are driven off big time. So, what are you going to do when cornfields get canceled in the U.S. but not Canada? Canada is a different country unless Donald Trump makes it the 51st state or the 52nd, depending if he gets Venezuela or not, or Greenland. So anyway, I can't control what Canada does. I can't control it. And I don't know of flooded cornfields in Canada. There could be. I personally do not know of any. If there are, somebody tell me. I personally do not know of any. Canada rules are way different anyway. We have thousands of acres of flooded corn with thousands of live decoys, double whammy on the public hunter. You got that right, Colt. I don't know. This whole private land owner versus public is starting to sound kind of communist. I don't know if you'd say communist or socialist. I have no idea. I just know that I want the same playing fields. I just think we all deserve that. It's a natural resource. Ducks do not belong to one individual or one group of individuals or one state. They belongs to everyone, everybody. It is a natural resource. Your tax money in federal duck stamps, Pittman Robinson Act, where a certain percentage of everything you buy for the outdoors goes to conservation, goes to the federal government and goes to conservation. That's your tax money, and you got somebody who's got a little bit more money in their pocket. And, again, I'm not going to tell them what they can and can't do. I'm just going to say, I don't like it. There's a lot of things I don't like. It's my opinion, right? I don't like cats. My wife loves cats. I hate cats. I can't stand them. I don't want them around me. Okay, that's my opinion. That is how I believe what I believe. All right. Does that make me a bad person for not liking cats? No. Does that make that person who likes cats a bad person? No. It just means that we have a different opinion. And my opinion is I think standing flooded corn is a bad idea. I know you don't like oatmeal but I don't like oatmeal without butter and sugar and cinnamon. And you need to cook it more than 5 minutes. You need to cook it for at least 30. Anyway, yeah, Colton, South Carolina, we have thousands of acres. We got thousands of acres between Jacks Creek and Sparkleberry. What are you talking about? So there it is in a nutshell, guys. I do want to say for everybody in here who has commented, thank you so much. I really do. I do appreciate everybody's comments in here. I absolutely, all of them. And everybody has been respectful. I hope that I have come off as respectful. I'm very passionate about this. So, but again, whatever the outcome is, whatever it is, we'll just have to abide. I hope they do. But if they don't, at least level that playing field where I can take a bucket of corn and pour it without getting in trouble. Okay. We have seasons for a reason. We have limits for a reason. And if you're caught outside of that season or outside of that limit and you're legally baiting, I think everything that you have that day gets taken away from you. And you charge federally, state and federal. and you're not allowed to hunt again. So, I think that there's your deterrent there. And there I go for the other side of the story, right? I say I don't like it, but if it does, if they do keep it, level that playing field some more. Level it. That's all I ask. This would this would be a great roundtable conversation without weapons. I did invite 2 people to be here tonight, and I got responses for both of them, and they were unable to join tonight due to other obligations. But I did have I had planned on a panel for this. They just couldn't do it. I hope that in the very near future, I'll be able to do another one with a panel. I will spend time with the family. Matt, I will still have a ton of respect for you and your opinion on this topic. Will never change that. I hope you feel the same about me. Of course, Daniel. Of course. I still respect you, brother. I still respect you. I still think you're an awesome person. We just have differences of opinion. That's it. That's all on this particular topic. I am quite sure that on other topics, we are neck and neck. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, go have fun with your family, man. Tell your wife and kids I said hello. What else? Any more questions? Any more comments? Come on. We're gonna take this as long. I'm not stopping in an hour. We're gonna continue with this. We got 24 people, now 23. I guess Daniel just left. So any more comments, questions, thoughts, ideas? What would you like to see? What would you not like to see? What do you have concerns over? Maybe I can go over it a little bit better, some concerns. Whatever. Now I'm leaving the comment section up to y'all. Cypress. Hey, man, what's going on? NRCS will pay for a millet impoundment through EQIP for qualifying landowner. Huh. Cypress, I'm going to ask you a question because you commented earlier on the actual video that I did. But have we met? And if not, where are you from? Just all you do is say state, and that's cool. And have we met? Is another thing, or I just forget your handle, which sometimes I do. But yeah, I again, I don't know. I don't know. I am going to be headed out to Louisiana at the end of the week, so I have no idea if this front's going. And I'm headed to Louisiana. I may hunt a small beaver pond that I have access to, a little walk-in spot. I may hunt that Friday, maybe Saturday, and see what happens. But if I do shoot anything, it'll be a wood duck. You're from Illinois. Oh, okay. Well, what do you want? Excuse me, guys. Bougie now wants to leave the room. Oh. You're from Illinois. Okay. I've been there. This usually on my live streams in the blind, we're just having a good old time. It's usually what we end up doing. We end up chatting and talking. I'm telling old stories or just hanging out with a handful of guys. And so for you guys, the older guys that have been here for a while, this was kind of a shock. It's probably a shock to you. But I really had to bring this to light. And I answered as many of the comments as I could on the channel. But it was getting to be overwhelming, to be quite honest with you. So okay, let's see here. Devil's advocate, flood an acre may be my way of leveling the field with the rich boys at the club. Now, are you talking Stanford? Let me ask you something. Are you talking about flooding standing corn, or are you talking about making a moist soil area? I had 3 people from Illinois. I know Mark was from Illinois. Matter of fact, I stayed at Mark's house for a couple of nights on my way to Minnesota. I should have stayed at his house on my way back. I almost killed myself. I drove straight through. Um, and here's my thoughts on that. Here are my thoughts on that. On a 30-3, we all know that the U.S. Fish and Game, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, whatever you want to call it nowadays, they tell you how many days you can hunt, and they tell you your seasons. The state is regulated to give you the dates. So the states may need to back up and go, when are our best times to hunt? And yes, some years you're going to be able to hunt right on through it. For the most part, Cody, when I was there, I never got cold. I mean, it was chilly, it was windy, but I never got cold. So they may need to relook at their seasons if they go to a 30-3. I'm not saying they are. Nobody's even proposed it. I'm just saying what I would like. So they may need to work around it or something. I don't know. That's a an individual state's decision, not the federal government. I'm gonna tell you guys something. I have worked myself up into a frenzy, and I am hot, and I am going to get out of this sweat jacket. And yes, I do have a shirt underneath it. Listen, they're building their own ponds. A lot of them, and let me answer it this way, Stanford. If I had the money, and a location, even here in South Carolina where we don't have many ducks, I would want my own piece of heaven as well. I would want it. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I will tell you now, there would be no standing row crop or grain crop. It would all be natural. It would be smartweed, springletop, natural foods. If I could be so lucky to have an acorn flat that I could flood with just acorns, yes, I would cut some trees out to make a hole, be able to manually flood it, take the water off so you don't kill the trees, manage it naturally. That I would have it, and they're doing the same thing. They're wanting their little piece of heaven, and by so they are. So a lot of them are doing corn because it's easy. There's no maintenance. You dig a hole, you level it, you plant it, you flood it. With natural moist soil, you cut what you have to, mow it, disc it in again, get those natural foods growing, the springletop, the smart weeds. It grows up a little bit, then you put water on it. Then you got to be able to take the water off. So there's more work in natural than there is in corn. I can tell you, I have never hunted in a standing flooded cornfield, pond, impound, whatever you want. I've never hunted one. Never. Have I ever seen one up close? Yes, I have, but I have never hunted. I was just there looking at it. And I was in awe of the ducks that we saw. Our state's too stupid to regulate anything. Haven't you seen it? That's all that's on the news is Minnesota. Did that answer your question, Stanford? Do I need to go a little bit more into it? I had 2 acres of beautiful Chihuahua millet last year, and not one duck ate it. And I believe you say you're from Ohio. Is that correct? Okay, so one other thing that somebody said on one of my posts, and I don't know if it was on the YouTube channel or if it was the Facebook channel, but somebody said the reason we don't have ducks is no, I didn't answer it, or no, I need to explain. Please, you got to be a little more, please, just a little more specific, not Pacific. Anyway, they said it's not about the flooded corn, it's about the weather. Okay, so I want to touch that a little bit. You're in Ohio, yes, I understand that, but Stanford said no, and I don't know if that means no, I didn't answer, or no, he doesn't need further explanation. That's what I'm asking. So anyway, he was saying that it was weather related. Everything was weather related. Listen, I'm not going to deny that. But ducks, no explanation. Okay, thank you. Listen, a lot of it is there is weather is it's related. Okay, I'm not saying it's not. What I am saying is if they can get food, water, rest, it doesn't matter how cold it gets. It doesn't matter how bad it gets. If they can get to the food source and not get banged on every day and get water, weather does not play a part. Weather does not play that big of a part, I should say. It does not play that big of a part in the migration. Now, with that said, you're always going to have photoperiod ducks that are going to migrate early. You're on the moons and all that stuff. You're also going to have ducks at the first breath of fall, that first northern wind, they're going to get up and fly. You're going to have that, and you will get some ducks that move on bad weather. I'm not saying you don't. I'm saying, in my belief and what I've seen in the past few years, that it's not as weather doesn't play a part like it used to. It used to play a huge part before all these corn ponds came into effect, because the ducks had to find food, they had to find open water, they had to find these things, and by migrating is how they find it. Hope I'll have a duck heaven next year. Me too, Randy. When I get back, we're gonna go take a look at that property. These are my, like I said, these are my thoughts. These are my opinions. Opinions are like elbows. Everybody's got 2 of them. And everybody has a right to their opinion. Everybody in here has a right to their opinion. And I encourage that. Thanks, Charles. Thank you so much. Appreciate you stopping in, brother. Real quick before you leave, Charles, have you heard any more word on the Outer Banks? Any more word on the Outer Banks? My buddy went up there for 2 days, and they shot 1 buffalo head, a coyote, and a rabbit. That was all they shot. And that was the day you called me. So I'm just kind of curious if things are changing around with this front that's coming through. Because we are supposed to be getting, as a matter of fact, started in yesterday, and it's getting chillier by the minute. But it'll never be a Minnesota cold. It'll be a South Carolina cold. Yeah, Colt, they do. Yeah. Ron, thank you so much for stopping in. Don't forget to hit that like button before you go out, and I appreciate you coming in. Appreciate all your comments and your support, sir. I guess Charles went away before he could hear me. So, oh, there he is. Slow Cedar Island still, buddy is up there for the rest of the season. He is hunting tomorrow. Wind going to blow hard rest of the week. All right. Keep me informed. I just because I'm not going up there, but I just like to hear things. Um, Not being a duck hunter, only a wannabe, I have never heard of this problem. And other than state land, I have never seen a corn pond. Um, I got you, Charles. Thank you so much for stopping in. Don't forget to hit that like button and give me a holler when you can. Um, yeah, yes, there were a lot. There's a lot of people that have never heard. I had one guy from Utah that said he had never heard of a corn pond at all. Um, Corn swamp, not pond. I do joke a lot about pouring corn. It's just because it's a big joke, and not that I do it. And of course, I would never admit it if I did. But anyway, um, yeah. So I got some friends in here, and we joke about it and have a good time with it. But getting back, I've known quite a few people that don't realize of the corn pond issue. They don't take into account a lot of the urban sprawl, the urbanization of wintering lands, wintering areas. Um, my home state, Santee, down below the trestle, actually below 95, unless you go to the other side of the lake. There's houses being stacked up everywhere. So yeah, a lot of that is a lot of what's happening. Like I said earlier, it's just not one thing. It's a culmination of a lot of things. Urbanization, predators, corn ponds being one of them. Not managing the public areas correctly, and the WMAs and the NWRs and whatnot. Um, I can't give out names on this, but I know someone who runs a national wildlife waterfowl refuge here in our state, and of course, there's no hunting on the NWR, but he has corn ponds all around that NWR, and they're hurting for ducks where they used to be, where they used to have thousands, tens of thousands of ducks, and 50, 60, 70, 80,000, 100,000 ducks wintering on this NWR. They got hardly anything because of all of the corn ponds. Again, now it may be a mile away or a half a mile away, but that is affecting a natural migration. That's where I'm trying to get at. This whole thing is about natural migration and getting it back to what they're supposed to do. Um, you know, Before all the corn ponds and all this stuff was going on, um, I can't tell you the amount of ducks that I shot in 60 to 75-degree weather. You know, mallards, wood ducks, pintails, black ducks. They were here. They were going in for the night because there was no corn. There was no corn around for them to eat. They were going in the swamp to eat natural foods. So again, those are problems. The you know is the length of the season and the limits a problem? I think that needs to be looked at again. Um, there's a lot of issues, and like I said, we didn't even touch on the release mallard program. And I mean, we can do that for another night, or if y'all want to hear about it, I'll tell you about the mallard release program here in our state and how it's affecting other states. But and that's up to y'all if y'all want to hear it tonight. If not, then we can save that for another date, probably after the duck season. Well, because I'm gonna be out of state here at the end of the week, and spending the rest of my duck season in Louisiana. So I probably will not have another um, live stream until around the 1st of February, probably the first Monday in February, unless something happens that I can get back and get to some Wi-Fi, because where I'm going to be, I just won't have it. But we can leave that for another discussion if you like, or we can talk about it now. It makes me no difference. We got a lot of people in here, and I'm happy and willing to talk. We can talk more about the corn ponds. We can talk about the released ducks, the urbanization. Um, I've even heard, I've heard rumblings, and maybe some of y'all have heard it as well, about mud motors. I own a mud motor, and I love my mud motor. Who we have? Dean. I'm not even sure how to pronounce all that, but anyway, you'd rather hunt a corn pond anyway over a cornhole. Well, there's your opinion, buddy, and you're welcome to have it. I just don't believe in them. So there you go. I don't know how long you've been in here, but I've been talking for an hour and 30 minutes on it. So if you got a specific question you'd like to ask it. All I ask is you be very respectful in your comments. That's all I ask. Um, it's a hot topic, guys. I can't say it enough. It is a real hot topic. I've gone through all my talking points, so now I'm just jibber jabbering. But it's there's so much that's involved with this, and um, all I can say is this: is there's a lot going on that needs to be addressed, and this is just one of them. I don't raise corn, but I do have to wonder about the economics of not harvesting a crop for ducks. Um, all right, so I'm not exactly sure if I understand correctly the economics of. All right, so they're growing corn to flood specifically for ducks, and a majority of these landowners, majority, not all, but a majority, are they are farming for ducks, and they have guiding services, and they charge an exorbitant amount of money for a blind. And you can only hunt these blinds every so often. You can't hunt them every day, like 2 days a week, depending on where you're at, depending on where it's located. So the economics of not harvesting that crop of corn, that guy can make some money, and he could probably pay for his land real quick, depending on how much money he paid for it in the beginning. But there's your economics on you know getting making money off of growing corn for specifically for ducks. Um, hey Phil, what's going on? I have a question. Would you still travel as much as you do if our hunting was better? Okay. Can I answer it this way? And Tyler, I will get with you in just a minute. Um, when our state had ducks, and we had lots of ducks, and I mean lots of ducks, the only reason we traveled out of state was to go and see something we had never seen before, a piece of property we had never seen before, an area we'd never been before. It was an adventure. Um, would I travel more or less if we had ducks? That would be hard. If we had ducks, I would no need to travel to go kill ducks. Um, you know, this no matter what any content creator, especially in the waterfowl world or hunting world or outdoor world, says, there's three things. They love their sport. They want to share their sport, and they want to make money off their sport. Okay? So the only way that I could enjoy it as much as I do duck hunting is to go out of state so I can enjoy doing what I love to do. And it's the only way I can make content. If I can't make content, then I don't get anything. And trust me when I tell you, I have a very small channel. I got a little over 3,000 people now. I do not make any money. Okay, I'm lucky if I make $100 every 6 months. All right, so it's not about the money. It's about the enjoyment of content creating and the enjoyment of the sport. But let's face that fact. We like getting that little check. We like it. And anybody who does it likes to get that little check. I don't have any big endorsements. You see the scroll down, Salt Creek Custom Ammunition, True Lock, and Biscuit Built. They don't pay me to advertise for them. I like their products. So I hope that answered your question. Tyler, I have heard how people talk a lot about the limits in Canada and how that is what? I'm assuming affecting. I have been to Canada one time. I went to Alberta, and the limit was 8. It was 8 ducks. It did not matter the species. It did not matter the sex. One of those reasons is when their season is open, even experienced duck hunters have a hard time distinguishing drakes and hens because the drakes aren't molted out. I can't tell you how many times I thought we shot a hen by accident in Minnesota and turned out it was an immature drake. Good on us because we'd have been bad. It'd have been bad on us for as far as the limit, but we got lucky. I mean, low light, rainy, cloudy days, having a hard, even when they're decoying in and up close and personal, you sometimes still have a hard time. Now, um, as far as how it affects us, Canada is its own country and they have their own rules and regs. I've heard some discussions that it should be lowered. I've heard some discussions that they need to leave it alone. I personally, being that I've only hunted up there once, I don't. Now, when I hunted in Minnesota, I could take a rock and throw it into Canada, but I really don't have an opinion as far as their limits. To be honest, I mean, quite honest, it was fun to shoot 8 ducks and not have to worry about it. I will say that. That was a long time ago and way before I started content creating and really getting into conservation like I am now. There was not a huge increase in overall population of waterfowl after the 2021 and 22 season when the border of Canada was closed in 2021, and very few people went in 22 because of the COVID vaccine. That is true. That is true. So does it really matter? I think you answered your own question or had your own answer with that. And I had the figures here, and I don't know what the population was in 2021, 2022, but I do know that in 2023 we had 32.3 million birds estimated in the count. They make more. Oh yeah. You're right. You're right, Randy. They make a lot of money on membership, especially around here. And I'm quite sure in some of those other bigger locations around the country, they've and as long as they've been in business, I guarantee they've already paid for their land. All right, what else? Tyler, I hope I answered somewhat of your question for you, buddy. I don't think the amount of people that actually hunt up there versus in even the non-residents, I don't think there would be that much of an effect. The land is so big and sparse, and a lot of places for ducks. I don't think they're a limit, but I have heard some discussions about it. Some people wish they would calm it down, and that would help us. I honestly don't know, and that's my answer. If I don't know something, I don't know it. What else we got going on? Well, I'm about I'm worn out. I'm worn out after this almost an hour and 40 minutes. I say let's give it another 20 minutes. So if y'all have got some questions, anything else you want to talk about, throw it up here. As long as it's in reference to waterfowl hunting, which I sure do appreciate. And yes, Phil, I saw your comment. Can't help me with the ducks, but I will see you in the spring. I guarantee you that. I'm going to see you this spring for the turkeys. If nothing else, buddy, I want to film it. If nothing else, I want to film one getting stomped. So, hopefully we can make that happen. I think if we do hunt, we're gonna do a 410 hunt. How's that? I'll have to buy some camel wrap for my little over and under, but we'll do a 410 hunt. Let's see here. What else? What else, guys? Let's do it. Let's get a question in here. I know y'all are full of them. I know y'all got something you want to say. Let's say it. You're right, Randy. They make way more off of memberships than they could ever make off of harvesting the corn. Even if they sold the corn, even if they harvested the corn for deer corn, I mean, they'd still, you couldn't touch it. I got it. My only, as a duck hunter, primarily a public land hunter, I would have to say, I wish that we could all go to a moist soil environment. I think the WMAs, NWRs, private landowners go to moist soil, make the migration happen again, make the migration great again. Okay, I got a shirt that says that somewhere. I got a hat around here somewhere that says it. I just don't know where I put it. Make ducks migrate again. Deer corn goes for more than at the elevator. All right, Randy, appreciate you stopping by. Tell Mr. Bentley I said hello. And I'll be looking forward to meeting your buddy in Louisiana next week. I can answer a little bit of the comment earlier about economic not over the corn. I got a buddy that has one of the largest farms in the county, and it's nothing for him. It's nothing for him to plant for ducks. Yeah. Appreciate that, Anti. Again, I didn't get to say much to you earlier, and I apologize for that. But I appreciate everything you do when you come in here, man, when helping me moderate, and getting the other YouTubers that come in here and getting their information out. And when I say this, man, I from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it. Is short corn a lot easier for ducks to feed on, or regular corn more effective because you grow more corn ears? I have heard that, and I don't plant corn. I don't hunt over corn at all. standing corn. But talking with people, the short corn is more effective because they don't have to spend a lot of money on getting water on the field. Whether they're using pumps or whether they're using water control devices, it doesn't cost them as much. Um, and there you go. There's Stanford's answering. Newer hybrids are shorter than that old open pollinated corn. They don't have to put that much water on it, and the ducks can. And somebody commented earlier. I don't know if you were in here, but somebody commented, and I backed them up on it. There are invertebrates and stuff that are in even in the corn, um, and stuff like that, so they can get to all of that a lot easier by dabbling. Um, so I would say shorter corn would be the thing. But in my opinion, I think it's all bad for the duck itself as far as um, healthy wise. So it's just heated. It just heats them up. It's carbohydrates. It keeps them warm, but it has very little nutritional value. I mean, you know, you ever ate a piece of corn? You ever eat corn? You ever eat corn? 2 hours later, you're trying to figure out why you got kernels, why you still have kernels. And you chewed it up and chewed it up and chewed it up. It's just bad. It's bad for you. Why wouldn't it be bad for ducks? So, and trust me, I'm a fat man, so I know all about eating. 15,000 for a membership a year that you only hunt 2 times a week. Yes, sir. You are 100% correct, Tyler, in that comment. People are not worried about the expense of being successful, whether it's the cost of a duck club membership or a $2,000 shotgun or a $55 box of shells or a $30,000 boat, $80,000 truck. If you're like me, you probably have $250,000 in decoys in your shed, um, blinds that you've only used once because you thought you needed it. Um, yeah, duck hunting is an expensive sport. When you go to Louisiana, I am leaving either the night of the 18th or early morning of the 19th, and I will be there. Um, I'll be there for the rest of the season, which I believe it ends on the 25th. So I'm hunting from the 19th to at least the 25th. Are you in Louisiana, Gator? Leo Gator? I like Louisiana. I've hunted there quite often, and I got some friends there, and they actually run a guide service, and we always have a good time. Whether we shoot a lot of ducks or whether we shoot a few ducks, we're gonna have a good time. It's just really good to get away and see something different and experience different cuisine and people and just having a good time. Let's see here. Oh, Gator, where are you from? Tyler, where are you from? What part of the country are you from? Just out of curiosity, I just like to know where people are from. And I've had people from Illinois and Minnesota and Ohio and North Carolina that I'm aware of. Just like to know where people are from. I got one in here. Nobody knows where he's from. We believe that he lives in a white van by a river, and that white van has a false bottom, so he just goes into the back and then goes deep into his cavern. He has an underground bunker, kind of like Wolfman Jack. I guess he left. I guess Gator left, or he got tied up with something. Oh, what other questions do we have out here? Again, for those of y'all that are in here, unless something changes, plans change or whatever, I think I will not be having a live stream next Monday night, which is generally for you guys that are in here, brand new in here. I've only been here once. Tonight is your first time in here. I generally have live streams every Monday night, and we could talk just about anything. Sometimes we talk about nothing. Um, Tonight was a little special, so we had some stuff to talk about. But um, it's kind of like in the blind, So you're sitting in the blind with your buddies, right? And you're just talking about anything and everything. That's basically what this live stream is all about. So. Uh, Tyler, he said, I planted some 90-day corn this past year, and the short corn has been absolutely devoured. I work crazy hard here in Tennessee to manage my place to kill birds for the 60-day season. I got you, buddy. I hear you. Tennessee, go Gators. Tennessee, but go Gators. I'm sorry. All right. So you're not a Vol man, huh? Okay. Brandon, what's going on? I'm in Mississippi. This is Brandon that made the logo for you. Yes. I remember. Thank you. A new logo came out of that, but yeah, I did sport your logo for quite a while. Tyler, I am probably the only 60-year-old redneck that does not watch football or NASCAR. I always figured I had something else to do and sit down and watch that. So, but I don't hold it against anybody who does. But I will say this: in the event the Gators are playing the Volunteers, just to make things interesting, I will go for the Volunteers, just so it makes everything interesting. I'm in South Carolina, so our two football teams here are Clemson and Clemson and Carolina. And the only time I ever watch them play is when they play each other, and it depends on how many Gamecock fans are in the room versus how many Clemson fans. I'll go for whoever the underdog and the amount of people that are there. So he'll say, "No, man, there's two of us." No, I changed my name because this is on the old YouTube page. Gotcha. How's your season? How's your season progressing, Brandon? Down there in Mississippi. There's another state I want to go hunt. Believe it or not, been through it numerous times, but I've never hunted there. I'd like to say I did. I like Flossin Farmer. He asked a question: would I still be here if we had ducks, or would I still continue to make trips? I like to travel. I like to go and see different places. Tyler liked that. Okay, I got him laughing. Okay. I like to travel. I like to travel, and I like to meet new people, and I like to hunt with new people. I enjoy the conversations. I can sit here and talk about ducks for hours. No, I don't know it all, and I never will. And no, I'm not a biologist. Again, I've just been hunting them for over 50 years, and I've seen changes. I've seen things happen, and I made a conscious decision 5 years ago to start this channel to give people the realistic issues and problems we were having in South Carolina. And I'm not saying I've completed that mission, but I decided to go a little more out with it across the nation and address issues like this issue, this topic. And again, we all have our opinions and whatnots, and we all have our beliefs, and I respect them. And as long as you respect mine and I respect yours, I think we could get along. We may have a disagreement, on certain issues, but I think in the long run we can all be friends and still get the job done when it comes to killing ducks. Um, you know, um, but that's why this channel started, and I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed this ride. Yes, I do have some hunting content on here. Believe it or not, I do. You have to go dig around for it. Um, and I have some other content like some cooking stuff, and I've got some ideas, some new recipes I came up with this year. That I'm eventually going to do a video on cooking. Um, I do product reviews. And like I said, I I buy everything I get, so I'm not beholden to anybody. And I have I do products, and I'll only tell you about them if I think they're worthy. Come early and we can make a hunt. It's been pretty good. I can't complain really. I got you. Yeah. Um, it won't be this. It won't be the rest of the season. I guarantee you that. My funds have dwindled. um, I got to do a lot of overtime work when this duck season's over with to catch up. But and this is the reality of duck hunting is what I try to bring out, and I got some conservation stuff out there, not only on this but released mallards, another pet peeve of mine, um, and like I said, we don't have the time because I'm gonna call this in just a few minutes, but you know we need to have another discussion on it, but we will be having more discussions on this topic. That's just the way it is. I mean, that's what's trending right now. So that's what we're going to be talking about. I got some other ideas for this kind of video that I did last Friday, and I'm going to continue to bring more stuff. Hopefully, God willing, the river don't rise. I'm going to meet up with somebody next week in Louisiana and see what else I can do. What else we can bring to you. So we got a lot of stuff. Um, but anywho, listen, guys. Um, Number one, again, I appreciate each and every one of y'all coming in here. I appreciate each and every one of you with your comments. I want to thank you for being respectful tonight, because I know this is a hot topic. I know that it's an emotional topic, but I do want to thank y'all for coming in and staying with me tonight. We've going on 2 hours. Generally, this is an hour thing, but I figured, well, tonight we're just going to go till it goes, and we haven't really had a question here in a while, so I'm gonna kick this off by saying I hope y'all have a great week. I hope y'all have a great rest of your season if it's still in. I hope this cold front that's coming in, y'all can get on some ducks and stay in touch. Stay in touch. Shoot me an email. Go to my Facebook page at Daddy Duck 365 and leave me a comment in there on something, or send me a message. Tell me how you're doing. I'm always curious about what people are doing. And again, get in touch with me. Anyway, hey Dean from California. I've hunted California one time, and that was near the Salton Sea. We shot pintails. It was the only time I've ever hunted out there. But anyway, y'all have a great one. Y'all have a great rest of your week. Stay safe, be careful, and we will see y'all next time on Daddy Duck 365. Y'all have a great night. Take care. Bye-bye. Oops.